As Jason mentioned, we've got 3 Industry Excellence Awards that we're giving tonight, and we're going to do these one at a time with a small presentation from each of the award recipients. The first one is a Certainteed division of Saint-Gobain, a French company. There are 2 solutions in the area of roofing, aesthetically pleasing while giving great energy savings for the consumers. The presenter is going to be Husnu Kalkanoglu. I had to practice that a few times. We had a nice conversation about great first names like Paige. I get called Pete all the time, so I have a affection for being called the right name. He's the Vice President of Research and Development for Certainteed Roofing. Joining us are also 2 Certainteed employees. We can't see anything from up here with these lights in our face, so please stand and wave if you're here. Ming Xiao and Chris Fisher. We invite them on stage afterwards for the photo opportunity with Jason and I for the award. So please help me welcome Husnu Kalkanoglu.
Lights, camera, stage fright. Anyway, on behalf of my colleagues Ming Xiao and Chris Fisher and the entire Certainteed Saint-Gobain Corporation, I'd like to extend our sincere thanks to Ocean Exchange for recognizing our company for our commitment to developing sustainable designs and products that not only reduce the energy usage, but also improve energy efficiency and thus have an positive impact on the climate. And our goal is to develop innovative, cutting-edge solutions that make a material difference in the lives of the people around the world. I'd like to also take this opportunity to congratulate my colleagues from Teledyne and Thornton Bearings for their achievement. A little bit about, I think I can use this. Oops. There we go. Saint-Gobain, history that is nearly 350 years. Imagine, was founded in 1665, and as it goes, Louis XIV is the king of France, and he orders some mirrors to be made for one of the halls of the Palace Versailles. And at the time, Venice is the glass-making capital of Europe. And according to one story, some glass-making artisans are invited to Paris to start this project. And there's also a story that says, well, against their will, they were forced from Venice to Paris, and they ended up in a workshop where they started working on the making of these mirrors. So when you visit Paris and happen to be in the Palace of Versailles and happen to be also in the Hall of Mirrors, and there are about 350 of them, that's how our company started. So the workshop that was established in 1665 turned and transferred into a corporation of operating in nearly 64 countries with nearly 200,000 employees. Today, we operate in 4 sectors. The innovative materials sector produces flat glass, bulletproof glass, safety glass. We produce crystals for technical, scientific, and security applications, glass fibers, high-performance plastics, abrasives, etc. are making about 22% of the company's sales. The construction products that Certainteed is a part of is providing most of the world's needs for insulation, gypsum, and ceiling tiles. And that happens to be about 25% of our total sales. And the third group, which is quite large actually, similar to what our Home Depot and Lowe's is, happens to be Saint-Gobain running Europe's largest network of distribution, not only to distribute their own products, but also the products produced by other manufacturers. The packaging division is made of glass bottles. So most of the champagne bottles, wine bottles, some beer bottles are products of that division. If you happen to have a mason jar from your grandmother or yourself and it says ball across on the surface, that's a Saint-Gobain product. Let's talk a little bit about Certainteed, which I'm a part of. And we also enjoy a similar proud 909-year-old history. And we have grown to North America's largest, or one of the largest building products companies for exterior and interior products, including roofing, siding, fence, decking, railing, insulation, gypsum, and ceiling tiles. And I'm also proud to inform you that for the last 3 years, we have continuously won the Energy Star Award. And as a result of this continuing efforts, we have been recognized for sustained excellence. So with this introduction, we can start talking about what we have done. By the way, the city happens to be Atlanta. According to U.S. Green Building Council, the commercial and residential building sector accounts for nearly 40% of carbon dioxide emissions in the United States per year, and more than any other sector. So when you look at this, most of these emissions come from the combustion of fossil fuels to provide heating, cooling, and lighting, as well as to power appliances and electrical equipment in the buildings. So besides its long-term financial burden, the impact of fossil fuel combustion also causes urban heat island effect and leading to poor air quality as well as smog formation. So by transforming the built environment to more energy efficient and climate friendly, the building sector can play a very important positive role in reducing the threat of climate change. A Lawrence Berkeley National Lab study, and they published that back in 2007. In one of their articles, they reported that significant savings could be attained and positive impact on the climate made by increasing the solar reflectivity of roofing from typical 15% to 40%. So that's almost an impact on 1.2 million cars. And again, this was back in 2007. And 5 years later, this is even larger. So for certainty, the journey started with making the white granules. We thought, well, if we can make white granules, they will have high reflectivity, and that should sort of take care of the problem. In a way, we have developed and patented technology, which unlike the conventional system, conventional technology where the roofing granules are only partially coated, let's say attaining about 25% solar reflectivity, we developed a fluidized bed technology where we are able to take each granule, suspended in the air, and very efficiently and totally create coverage where the surface reflectivity goes typically from, let's say, 25% to 70%. So now we can come up with products like that. What can we do with these white granules? I mean, not only can we paint the entire house white, but also make roofing products that are totally white like this, and I'm sure we would attain a very high solar reflective building. But as we know, color matters. I mean, people like color. Unless you are maybe visiting Greece or Western Turkey in the Aegean, usually you see white buildings like that in those islands. So now the challenge becomes, well, how can we attain high solar reflectivity using colored product? So let's take a look at the solar spectrum. About 5% is ultraviolet radiation. The visible part that the eye sees, or human eye sees, is about 46%. And the portion of the spectrum that is responsible for heating the surfaces and creating the warming effect, i.e. the infrared radiation, is about 49%. So the question becomes, knowing that the white bodies or the white surface can sort of reflect the infrared and thus cool, is there a way for us to use the white? So what we have done is, here we go. We started with the white granules. Remember I mentioned the fact that we were fluidizing these granules and doing a great job in creating the white surface. Well, using the same technique, we recoated these white granules with a colored granule. But the interesting thing is, this pigment, even though it is colored to the eye, actually is invisible to the infrared. These are specialty pigments that are actually infrared transparent. So using that technology, we were able to create granules in different colors, just as an example of brown, in the same fashion that is, let me also, there we go, is seen to the sun as white, but the human eye as colored. So with that comes Certainteed Solaris shingles, where without necessarily losing the color, that vivid color of the product, we are able to actually increase the solar reflectivity of the product. And by choosing slightly lighter colors, we were able to increase it even to 40%. And that led to the recognition by R&D, the magazine, R&D magazine, as one of the top 100 inventions, and on a global scale. So also very proud of that. And I have to give credit to Dr. Ming Xiao and his team for that. So what that translates to is, without losing the color, cooler roof temperatures, i.e. reduced heat flux entering the inside of the building, i.e. reduced cooling load. Let's switch gears and go to residential solar. The photovoltaics. These are the panels, the solar panels that generate electricity. And about 95% today of the solar panels are attached onto the surface of the roofs using these roof-mounted racks. But in order for these racks to remain on the roof, be able to carry all the weight, and still be able to withstand the high winds, they have to be mounted through the shingles into the rafters. So what that means is that several times you see a lot of penetrations being made through the surface of the roof. And each time you make a hole through the product, the shingle that's supposed to sort of protect our house against leaks and snow and etc., actually you are increasing the risk of water leakage. So the applicator has to be very, very careful, making sure that the proper flashing techniques are used and make the surface waterproof. At Certainteed, our goal is always providing a functional solution, but at the same time, we realize that we cannot forget and turn our backs to the aesthetics that are important to homeowner. So what we've done with our product is to integrate a solar shingle with the rest of the roofing products. And we created and developed, and this one goes to Chris Fisher and his team, an Apollo, as we called it, one of the Greek gods for sun, and Apollo 2, where the shingle actually is a electricity generating shingle and integrates perfectly with the rest of the roofing products. So on a 1.3 kilowatt per square, you will need maybe about 2-3 squares. So actually I should correct that by saying 3-4 squares to generate about 75-80% of your house's energy needs. So that happens to be about maybe 15-20% of the entire roof surface. And it's Class A rated as far as fire is concerned, and also it's capable of withstanding wind loads of nearly 110 miles per hour. Some beauty shots. Here we go. One of our engineers, this was a test roof given to him free in PA. And here you go. That probably is a closest picture you can sort of imagine. Of course, when you sort of coordinate with the right color, actually it looks pretty appealing. So the homeowner, at least some of homeowners, don't have to try to hide their solar panels on the back of their house. Instead, they can proudly show that in front of their house, if it is the right exposure, of course. And for the regions of the country where clay tiles are popular, we also have Apollo tile, where we can integrate that product perfectly with the tiles. I think my 10 minutes up, maybe a little bit longer. So, but in closing, thank you again, Ocean Exchange, for recognizing us for our efforts for sustained habitat. Thanks again.
And we have time for a couple questions with each of our speakers. We're going to have a time for 1 or 2 questions if you have any questions. If you block the light. Yes, please. You get to share our hot lights. It's quite warm up here. It's nice.
These products can actually be applicable to the metal roofs, but as far as the design is concerned, indeed, the design, at the end of the day, it's using the cells, the solar cells, to create a certain design. So since, for example, metal roofs, and I assume you are speaking of the panels that are parallel, I guess, standing seam metal, I think, is what you are referring to. Indeed, they can be also designed to fit in between those metal protrusions, and the answer is yes, basically. It can be done, yes. I guess the School of Design here, the Savannah School of Design, can help us to do that, I must add.
If you could come to the microphone so we can capture it for the video that's being recorded as well. Just helps us record it. Thank you.
Granules using the fluid bed technology is very interesting. You pulled that from the pharmaceutical industry.
Indeed.
That's a batch process there. Is this continuous? How did you bring your price down?
In this case, it is a batch process, but it could be also continuous. It's let me say that's a semi-batch or semi-batch, semi-continuous process.
So what's the price increase for your Solaris?
The price, again, it's a marketing question, so I'm not going to answer the question, but let me say...
Oh, you can go ahead, please.
Marketing person is not here to answer the question, but it does increase obviously, somewhat, but still within the capability of the homeowner to save a lot of energy and be able to pay.
One last question. What
Sure.
percentage of those fluidized bed granules go on the roofing itself? Is it 100% of the granules?
100%, yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Innovation isn't free.
Now, there are different types of roofs that last different time frames.
Yes.
How do you think about matching, and how much of a challenge was it to match the lifetime of the roof with the lifetime of the photovoltaic cells?
The photovoltaic cells, usually, at least with today's technology, they are guaranteed to provide about 80% of their initial performance in 25 years. So from that perspective, it is pretty much becomes, quite acceptable, I guess, offering. But from a roof waterproofing perspective, they can be matched to the same life expectancy of the shingles, while their electrical output is 25 years as far as 80% of their initial output. Their lifespan is going to be much, much longer than that, matching that of the shingles.
Great. Thank you. One more round of applause.
Thank you.
If you can come up, please. This is the awkward part where you get to watch us smile and get pictures taken. So.
Okay.
Please, come sit next to me. Very good job.